them when players like Giddings right there are just coming up and making big shots.
Well, you could put them in the same category as the boys, Volcano Vista. I mean, they're going to beat themselves. They're going to have a really, really bad game, and somebody's going to have a really super game with all their players being involved.
Yeah, and I mean, just look right there. You see Hope Giddings getting involved in that one as Sandia, not having to rely on their number one player, Benali. That's a huge shot that goes in for Albuquerque High School. They were trying to keep it close throughout, but Sandia throughout this game would just continue rolling, and Lee Kettig has about 10 players that can get out on the court no matter what. Albuquerque High, this is about as close as they got it right here, knocking that one down, getting close to bringing it back to single digits, but then Audrey Wright comes in and steps up with the big three there. So Albuquerque High would put on a big fight throughout this one. As we go into the fourth quarter, it's just all Sandia. And, the Matadors right now, they did beat Hobbs at the beginning of the season, correct?
Right.
And so this is still the team to beat, this Sandia Matadors side.
They're undefeated right now.
Yep.
And you're like you said, there's some athletic move right there by the best player in the state.
And so 68-43 was the final score in that one, as the Sandia Matadors, like you said, remain undefeated in this season. And I mean, just dominance out of them. But Albuquerque High School, that's a team in 5A that's really starting to come up. That girls team is getting better and better. Let's take a look at another game. This one will be the Rio Rancho Rams and El Dorado Eagles. I believe that this is the girls' game, yeah, and you're going to see a lot of this. The Martinez twins, that was Maddie Martinez. Here's her sister, Larissa Martinez, on a big three there. And throughout this game, the Rio Rancho Rams were using a lot of pressure. There's the big shot by El Dorado as they tried to put the fight, but Steve, in a team that right now, there's a lot going on in the background for Rio Rancho and Coach Mabry, but this team uses that full court pressure, and I don't know if there's a lot of girls teams that can keep up with the kind of pressure that Rio Rancho puts on.
Yeah, while we're speaking of Rio Rancho, I mean, Lori didn't coach this game, and this shows the resilience of the players to come out and play with that kind of effort and energy, and then let's just regards to Buster.
Mm-hmm.
He's having a difficult time. He's fighting through it and he's staying strong. So prayers out for him and his family and Lori, because they're having a difficult time right now.
Yeah, we really hope that everything gets a lot better out there. But that, like you said though, Coach Eric Jack has stepped in for the Rio Rancho girls, and their only really tough game so far was that Sandia game, but they were competitive throughout. They took Sandia into the fourth quarter, and that was the championship of the Mel Otero that we had right here on ProView Sports a couple weeks ago. But I mean, that's another team with those Martinez twins, Larissa and Maddie, and then their older sister, as well as Jack on that team. There's a team that in a couple of years could very easily be right on the same level with Sandia.
Well, that could be, and Lori would tell you the same thing. She's been bringing this team along, and she says, with a little luck, it could be this year. So get out and watch these games. These girls can play. The guys are playing. It's fun basketball right now.
Oh yeah, in Rio Rancho, there's not a lot of better places. Let's look at one more game before we go to the top 10 plays of the week. This one's that La Cueva Atrisco game. You did this one, Steve.
Well, I tell you, there's Lujan making a basket, and Atrisco Heritage, they're getting better and better. They're very young, and they have, Morris is a senior guard, and he can just make things happen. And this is a game
and that's Deion Sessions too.
Yeah, this is a game of two halves. La Cueva came out, everything was going Atrisco Heritage's way. They came out and it just looked like,
yeah, 25-43 after the first half.
Yeah, it looked like, La Cueva's dead, and even I made a comment in the first half that, they're not living up to what, Coach Oriel is not a La Cueva team, not the La Cueva pride that we saw, and then this game changes in the second half. All of a sudden, Trisco couldn't score, and now it's a 9-point game, and here's that dunk that was probably one of the best breaking presses I've ever seen.
Yeah, and here's Deion Sessions.
Deion Sessions, a game high 18 points tonight. when your team needed it. Your team needed it tonight because La Cueva came out in that second half tough. Latavius was obviously hobbling around out there. That sequence where you hit a three out of both corners was pretty crucial. Talk about that.
The way I play, I always want to bring energy every time I'm on the court. I feel like the energy I bring helps my teammates get in the flow, and that's just how I love to play. I'm always going to be aggressive, always going to bring the energy, and always going to do what I have to do.
What did Coach Heredia say to you guys in that third quarter when he called that timeout? I know he wasn't very happy with the energy at that point. What did he say, and what did you guys do when you came out of that timeout?
He just said we just need to play better, have more pride on defense, and that's what we had to do. We stepped up, and it did get a little shaky, but we held it out. We got the dub. That's all that matters.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So you saw that one. I mean, Deion Session had a heck of a game, but he's another young talent. You talk about the youth on that Atrisco side. Like you mentioned, Latavius Morris, he's a senior. But his younger brother's there. There's Deion Session. I mean, Steve Heredia's got a great team down there at Atrisco.
When they got Knox, the transfer from Volcano, I mean, they got some players, and they're still not healthy. Okay, and then as we saw, they got beat by El Dorado last week, and Levterius didn't. He did not play. He got hurt. He hurt his ankle in this game here. He didn't play, and then El Dorado got him on the home court.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at the top 10 plays of the week. You might recognize one from that game we just saw. So we'll be right back here on the Sports Report.
What was the guy?
Welcome back here to the ProView Sports Report. Aaron Rivera along with Steve Davis, and some great seasons so far for a couple of the local teams that we see here in Albuquerque. We were just talking about it at the break. West Mesa off to a 6-2 start under new coach Leo Ural. I mean, what a way to go. We're going to take a look at one of their games in a second, but good start to the season for them.
Very good start, and they beat some quality teams, and they beat Hope and they beat La Cueva, and here they are down on the blocks, and that's Young, and doing what he does. But close first half. This was back and forth. I think we'll see. Let's see how good my memory is. I think it was 32-31 at halftime, and everything's going well for Del Norte right now. Both teams are just playing a great flow of the game in the first half, and then we'll see what in the second half. This thing just gets
first. I mean, you made a great call on this one. You said a miracle would have to happen. 1-2 shoot. Espinosa, huge three. Our number one play of the week, of course. I mean, way to finish out a quarter, right?
Yeah, and like I said, this. The defense basically of the Knights was bothering West Mesa, and they were scoring and breaking down the defense, and whatever the coach said at halftime, it really changed the whole complexity of this game.
And they're really, you can see them getting to that as Del Norte Knights. I mean, and this was a back and forth one. I know we had, of course, Sebastian there, and then Jude, who's from West Mesa. So always fun, the rivalries here at ProView. But, we get into the second half, and now West Mesa, they started being able to just kind of put their foot into it.
Yeah, and it was just, Young was hitting. I mean, everybody just started, contributing. They started breaking down the deal, and then everybody started contributing.
Yeah, and so when you go 6-2, a team like West Mesa, coming out, they love the ball down there. They like to see them get competitive, and you can see Del Norte, that's a quick flip up into the basket. But West Mesa would just, start edging a little bit more, adding more until this one got a little bit more out of hand.
Well, and West Mesa's young. Okay, they're young like Trisco Heritage. This team's going to be right there when they get more and more confidence. They start a freshman plays a lot.
Somebody hits a shot for Del Norte.
As we see here, them just sending it down. And so that one, I believe that's...
Look at that. See, it's
Toronto's
31 to
player
31.
of the game is Johnny Young, one of two Mustangs with 18 tonight. Let's talk about that offense a little bit. I mean, off the dribble, they just didn't have an answer for you today. Talk about it.
I feel like not a lot of people can really stand in front of me, but I feel like I saw them coming up, and I really feel like I'm quicker, I'm faster, and I'm just more skilled, so I just figured I'd get around them.
And it seems like whenever you had a little in front of you, you knew it. It was like barbecue chicken out there, right? Like when you had a little guy on you, that's when you really attacked. Talk about that.
The game plan was if we see something smaller in front of us, we're stronger, we're bigger, we're faster, just get them, and pretty much barbecue chicken from there.
Barbecue chicken indeed, 84-62 after being so tight there at the end of the first half. I mean, great job so far for West Mesa, and another team, we don't have any highlights of it, but we just want to mention Albuquerque High, 7-1 under Coach Leroy Barella.
Before we start that, McIntosh has banned Sebastian from doing any games. He told me, he says, hey, we made Sebastian said, hey, we're here to support you or whatever, and he says, well, it's not very good because your winning percentage here is not very good. So I just want to let you know,
sounds like I'm going to Del Norte a lot.
You're going to Del Norte because McIntosh needs some victories. So, all right, go ahead.
Yeah, no, but Leroy Barella, 7-1, his team right now. And Albuquerque High, Leroy's a alumni of Albuquerque High. He wanted to go back to bring back the success at Albuquerque High, and so far off to a good start, 7-1.
Well, surprisingly, and I just found that out. I feel like we're on top of things, and I was talking with some people, and they're like, West Mesa and teams to watch, and another team, Valley, is just sneaking in there. So you've done some of their games. I haven't, but. I'm going to make it to all of them. I
Yeah,
do everybody's
eventually.
games.
Well, so let's take a look. Speaking of Valley, let's look at them playing against the Monzano Monarchs here. As that game, Steve, so early on, Monzano, they really came in strong, and it seemed like it was just going to be their game the whole way. You see they lead at the beginning, and then Valley switched in a couple of bigs. You see Christopher Melendez right there drop a 3, and then Melendez turns it right back around and puts a 2 in following that. But Valley Monzano, this game was tight. A team Monzano that's now back into the 5A. They've got a tough bunch ahead of them, but some strong shots, and we'll be talking a little bit more about him as well. Bryce Johnson, you saw him on the 3. He's Valley all day long with that press defense. It was tough to fight them. There's Esteban Gonzalez, or pardon me, yeah, Esteban Gonzalez there. But this was the star of the show right there. Angelito Villa, you'll see right here, it was on the top 10, intercepts the ball, shoots a 3. He'd have 2 more points right after this on free throws.
With 1:44 left. Wow.
Yeah, and this is, this game gets down to the 1 point. Here's the tying shot from Esteban Gonzalez, 30 seconds on the clock. Angelito Villa has 2 free throws with 6 seconds, gets them both. And then Youngberg comes up, goes up with it, and then that flop is called on Chris Melendez, so they have 1 chance. And on the technical fouls,
He misses one of the 2.
yep, here's Angelito Villa.
My first time seeing Monzano, my first time seeing Valley this year, and both yourself and the other team's leading scorer. Not much through 3 quarters, but that 4th quarter you both got going. It was a duel for the ages. Tell us, how do you feel right now after such a big win?
I feel great, but as a team, we need to clean some stuff up, especially turnover-wise, defensively. We're a lot better than this. This is a 20-point win for us if we're on our best behavior.
Well, you got most of your 21 points there in the 4th quarter. You got on the line big. Tell us about that sequence. Probably nothing through your mind, but what do you remember? You got the steal, the 3, and then the free throws. What was going through your mind?
We were down a little bit. Somebody needed to make a play, and I was trying to be that guy tonight.
Well, Angelito Villa, you certainly were. You are a player of the game here on Game Vision. Anybody you want to say hello to back home?
My mom up in Wisconsin right now. She's watching. Love you, Mom.
Hi, Mom. So I'm Chad Patterson.
I always love seeing Chad Patterson at games as well. He's back with us here at ProView. But, so you just mentioned how good they're doing. They won that game. They also beat Artesia later in the week. So Valley off to a good start here. And we're going to take just a quick break right now. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the tournament we're watching this weekend, Steve. So just roll. All right, now we're back. Welcome back to the ProView Sports Report. Aaron Rivera with Steve Davis. And, holiday time is a great time. The Stu Clark tournament's going on this weekend. But we here at ProView, we're going to be down in Rio Rancho for the Jaylene Burger, which is, always one of the best tournaments of the year.
Yeah, Wally Slaughter does a great job, and it's something I think this is like 12, or as many years as he's been doing it, we've been there. So.
Yeah, so the bracket today, you can find all of these games on the NFHS network. We'll have those live just after the end of this show. But so the first game is Sandia Prep La Cueva, then Navajo Prep and St. Pius. There is our schedule up on the board. Espanola Valley will be playing Hope Christian at 5, and then Monzano plays against the Rio Rancho Rams at 7 o'clock. The championship game will be on the NFHS network. We're going to have the winner's bracket for you tomorrow, and then the championship game on Saturday as well. Plus, while we're talking about things coming up this weekend, Steve, New Mexico Runners are back. They're playing against Certified Lions out of Oklahoma City. Always great to see the Runners back in season.
Well, while we're at it, we might as well talk about Fred Slow and wrestling on Saturday night.
Yeah, DCCW.
So we're finishing this year strong.
Yeah, so those are live, and if you want to see We have those playing on Saturday mornings, every episode of DCCW Wrestling as well. But let's talk about this Jaylene Berger tournament, Steve. So we've seen a few of these teams already, right? So we've seen St. Pius, we've seen La Cueva, but some teams that come down for this tournament every year that are interesting. Espanola Valley, Navajo Prep. Navajo Prep last year with, they were led by Orion King. He's gone now. But they won the state championship last year, so, when
Lost their coach, though.
Yeah, they did lose their coach, so that makes it kind of interesting. So what can we expect out of a team like that? New coach, and you lost most of your best players, but you still have Xavier Nez.
You're asked. I will tell you next week after I watch this tournament. Okay, I'll make it real simple. I haven't seen. That's why I'm so excited. I get to see some people I haven't seen, and Manzano will be great to see, and Rio Rancho. I haven't seen Rio Rancho. Basically, only two teams I've seen basically is Hope, and I hadn't seen San Pius. So I don't know if San Pius. Yeah, I get to see San Pius. San Pius is doing well too.
Yeah, and one of the teams that I'm really interested in is this Espanola Valley team, right? So got to see them play against Albuquerque Academy very early in the season. They have Fresquez now on that team, Josiah Fresquez. He was the best player at Los Alamos last year, and he joins that Espanola Valley team that, if they start clicking here, they could be a threat in 4A, and of course, everybody knows how much they love ball up north.
Well, always. The town that's passionate about basketball is Espanola. They got the pit. They draw a lot of people to come to their home games, and very knowledgeable. They're very vocal, but they're very knowledgeable about the game. So whenever they're speaking most of the time they're 100% right. So I really respect that. They're very vocal and very loud and very passionate about basketball. You gotta love it.
Yeah, and every single season so far under Coach Trujillo, they're getting better. So, the first season they only won 2. They got close to 500 last season, and, this could be the year they start to push over that hill. But then, let's talk about this La Cueva side because, early on, very disorganized, lots of young kids on that. They, of course, lost a lot of the talent, but this is going to be a tough tournament for them. But then they end up drawing, some of the smaller teams. They'll have Sandia Prep, Navajo Prep, or St. Pius, so they're not having to play against, big 5A behemoths right at the beginning.
Well, La Cueva is a work in progress, basically, and they have the parts. They just, they lost a lot of parts last year. Byers signs early, then he's an impact player, and then the 7-footer, left and to go to a prep school. You lose those two, and then you lose, Chavez is playing for UNM. You lose a nucleus of their team. It takes a little bit while for them to mesh together, get the chemistry, and they're showing signs of it. So that their team, their record is deceiving. Okay, I'm just going to say that they're going to get better, and the Cueva faithful, they'll be right there when district starts.
Well, and it kind of reminds me of something that Coach Broussard mentioned to me when I was talking to him. He's like, these teams that are young like this, it's not about being good at the beginning of December. It's about being good in January. It's about being good in February.
Well, that goes with all teams. It doesn't matter if you're young or old. You want to peak right there. You want to start playing your best basketball at district time.
Sure, but there's certainly teams out there, Volcano Vista, that they're good beginning of December. They're good beginning of January.
The question with Volcano, can they sustain that the whole year? Okay, that's by far, if and everybody's in agreement with this, and I'm not going to get any deals, and I'll just say it is that everybody else is playing for second place right now. They got first place unless they have injuries or they get a Guino unfouled trouble or win. All their players have a bad game, and it's just like the girls Sandia team. The team's got to have a perfect game. Sandia almost did it. They played a perfect half against them, but they had to play 4 quarters about this team. And I made the statement. Here's how good Volcano Vista is. They didn't play a first half and only played the second half, and they beat the number 2 team by 10. Okay, so that kind of gives you an idea of how good this team is.
Yeah, and that's, the team to chase is going to be them.
And they just killed my Clovis Wildcats. they just, you know, and I get, you know, Sebastian just kills me on this because my Wildcats just got in the milk, you know, the Clovis tournament this weekend. So anyway.
Well, hey, at least you can still go to Clovis Wildcat games. Unlike him going to those Del
Yeah,
Norte.
I haven't been banned yet, so maybe I'll just stay away from Clovis this year, and I won't be banned. So.
Well, hey, let's. We got a couple of minutes left. Let's take a look at the scores from this week. As you see there, the scores of games we did, including some other big ones like Logan beating Santa Rosa 49-48. Piedra Vista, that's a team that, you know, their districts changed again this year. Cibola fighting in there 48-40 against that good West Mesa side. And then Oregon Mountain beating Cleveland on the girls' side as well. I mean, that is massive. But I believe we are all out of time here on the ProView Sports Report. Steve, thanks for coming in again for this one. And thank you folks at home. Have great holidays. And don't forget, the Jaylene Berg will be on the NFHS network all weekend long.